is back, so don't delay. $5 admission on opening day. The Youth Fair is back on November 18th. Get ready for heart-pounding rides, mouth-watering food, and free parking every day. Get your discount tickets today and save at Sedano's or at fairexpo.com. And if you're 5 and under, admission is free. The Youth Fair, located on the fairgrounds at Coral Way and 112th Avenue, with enhanced health and safety measures. November 18th through December 5th. Visit fairexpo.com.
Hey people, this is DJ.
And this is Ish. And this is Season 4 of Better Let Me Tell You.
Yeah.
More or less.
More or less, less or more.
Can I tell you something that I kind of don't understand? I understand, but I don't understand.
What?
Mariah having her own meal at McDonald's.
Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to episode 182.
Yes.
But let me tell you, how is everybody? How's everybody's week?
I think everybody's having a very good week. You know, it's if you're in Miami, it's a little brisk.
The weather this week was amazing.
I went for a jog this week, and it was awesome.
You know what's funny? I don't ask for much. It's like I
love how you're like, I don't ask for much.
It's like the weather this week. If we had that weather all winter, quote unquote,
autumn. I'll take it for
I
autumn.
would be okay.
Yeah.
I would be okay, you know.
And let's be clear, listeners, for those of you who don't live in Miami, what we're literally asking for is 75, 73 degrees. Mm-hmm. Again, like you said, we don't ask for much.
There was a day there that it went down to the 60s and it was breezy and it was sunny. There was not a cloud in the sky.
In the coming week, it's supposed to go down to like upper 50s.
So what do you guys? What do you guys out there think, listeners?
Well, I will say, I know we're going to talk about Mariah, but most listeners are, based on feedback, are loving. And I think we should do a spin-off, frankly. Your mother's, just...
Oh, yeah, my mother's stories.
Pero let me tell you presents Nary. And again, we should do that. That's that pilot. Nary and Nary go to the car show.
Nary squared at the car show.
That could be the pilot, but it could be Nary squared. They just go do things.
Right.
Like every episode is a different experience.
Right. The first one is the car show.
Right. Then we could maybe have them go make chocolate.
Right.
Very I Love Lucy.
Right.
We could have them maybe go car shopping.
Right. Or things that my mom has like no clue about.
Right. Like, I don't know. She could go to one of those places where you throw the axe.
Oh. That's awesome.
Or one of those rage rooms.
Yeah, that's awesome. That'd be great.
I'm telling you.
Now that you said rage room, do you know what I totally don't get? I don't get this.
Okay.
They do this a lot on cruise ships, and I've seen it on YouTube, but I haven't been in person to see it. Those like soundless or no music.
The parties.
Parties that everybody has headphones on.
The silent discos.
Silent discos. Why?
I don't get it either.
Like...
And God knows, I've had my own version of a silent disco in the middle of a grocery store as I'm doing my groceries. But it's, if I'm going to a party, like, I want to hear it loud. I want to, like, embrace it.
Yeah, hear the thump. Like, I don't get it, but yeah, my mom throwing an axe. My mom having a beer flight.
A pub crawl.
A pub crawl with my mom.
With your mother and Nary.
A drag show.
That would be great. I'm telling you. You know what? We're going to make this happen. We are going to make this happen. We've already thought of like 6 episodes just here.
And not tell her.
Right. We just have to sell her on the idea that we're going to take her to experience things and film it with our friend Nary.
Yes.
And that's
the other Nary.
And that's all she needs to know until she shows up to these events.
And then with the magic of editing and proper music, there we go.
Oh my God.
It'll be picked up by Mega TV.
Mega. This has Peacock written all over it.
Peacock?
Yes, because Peacock, remember, NBC Universal also owns Telemundo, so it works perfectly for Peacock.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's bilingual programming
for
the multicultural, bilingual, bicultural Hispanic.
I like it. Oh, I'm yawning. Oh my God. That's my mother.
Any of you out there who work for NBC? Reach out to us.
And I think a few people noted if I still prank my mother. I actually don't prank her anymore because 2 years ago she had a mild heart attack.
Yeah, so we're gonna so that's why we're gonna tell her we're taking her to places.
I mean, I still do some shenanigans, but
Sí, pero relajo con Odin
nothing
ahora.
is heart
No.
And for those who know my mother, so yeah, her heart attack was no laughing matter, but my mom is like a health freak.
Oh my god! Well, we said the last episode she does 200
my
sit-ups
mom
every
does
morning.
Sit-ups. Well, the first time she felt chest pain, she was jogging, and then she's like, "Oh, they went away." She kept jogging.
Well, because she's a healthy person, she thought I accelerated.
She eats, the same chicken and vegetables every day.
I mean, mung beans and sprouts.
So when we were in the hospital, oh, your mom's cardiac enzymes are high. She's having a heart attack. We were like, I was like, excuse me?
You must have gotten somebody else's results.
Who Neri is?
Clearly you're reading someone else's charts.
Yeah. Do you know who Neri is? Because, no. My mom is Jane Fonda in the 80s without the video.
Your mother only eats grasa once a year, and that's Nochebuena. That's it.
Yes.
And she probably has un pedacito.
My mom doesn't even eat badly on a cruise.
Oh, really?
Nope.
She's that person who has the salad?
She doesn't understand.
Se cuida.
She eats sensible. In the main restaurant, if there's a fish dish, that's what she'll eat.
It's salmon.
Right. For lunch, she'll have...
Si tienen arroz, brown rice, Right.
She'll have a sandwich or a fruit or something like that, or a yogurt. She is one of those people.
Oh, that's her splurge?
Yeah. When I see at a cruise buffet or any buffet, that usually at the entrance of the, especially breakfast buffet, they have a thing of yogurt. I'm like, who the hell comes on a cruise buffet to go up to have yogurt?
Neri Borges.
Neri
Borges.
I have to tell you. Cruise buffet, I am the worst person at a buffet.
You are.
I do not last.
You are.
I have 3 things and then I'm like, I can't do it anymore.
You don't know how to eat at a buffet. I don't understand how you don't know, having gone to so many buffets with us.
No. I don't.
How you haven't picked up.
Yes. So, but to the thing of buffets, whenever I go on a cruise, that first morning, which is usually at
first
sea,
breakfast buffet.
Oh my God. The bacon, the pancakes,
I'm looking forward to it.
The eggs Benedict. By day 3, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so over the bacon, the eggs Benedict.
Well, yeah, because especially the breakfast buffet, it tends to be the same things over and over again.
Give me the yogurt.
I'm like, you are your mother's son.
Or give me a cantaloupe. But I feel that breakfast buffets,
because it's very limited también. It tends
limited.
To be the same thing literally over and over.
Yeah, but it's so delicious. But
no, right.
But you peak really quickly because after 2 or 3 days, it's I'm done.
Yeah.
I
can't wait. We're going on a cruise in December, and it's only a 4-day cruise, so I may not get tired of the breakfast buffet, but I can't wait.
Right. Or what I love to do in the main restaurant, dinner.
Order everything.
Yeah, I'll have everything on the menu. Everything except the black bean burger.
Yeah, let's not get crazy. Calm down.
I have to tell you, I miss going on a cruise so much.
I will let you know how it shakes out.
Just because a lot of people don't like cruises, and
that's fine.
I certainly appreciate the criticism of cruises.
They're valid.
They are,
but I like it.
I in particular
I don't care.
Cruise ships are getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger
it's too
and
much.
bigger, and the Allure of the Seas, I don't know, has 5,000 guests plus 2,000 something or 3,000
the crew,
so it's shit, that's a lot of people.
That is a small town.
That is a small town. That's 5 times the size of the town my parents grew up in, Caloroa, Cuba. Population 200. That's why everybody married each other.
This is true. Slim pickings.
But I love cruises. I love the type of vacations, especially when you go to Europe or something, that you wake up early, you go on a mission.
Yeah. We're all about the clipboard of fun.
Right, the clipboard of fun. You're out there exploring and walking.
Right.
But then when you go on a cruise, it's
no.
Yes. I'm doing nothing.
I'm going to do absolutely nothing.
Everything.
And right. But it's your choice. Your choice. I may not even get off the ship.
Yeah. You'll be that
because
person.
I've been to Puerto Vallarta. I've been to Nassau, So.
Anyway, speaking of Mariah.
Yes. So bringing it back to Mariah.
Mariah Carey this week released that she's having a...
Mariah's meals.
Right, but have you seen these McDonald's meals in the past?
This is not like that. She's doing giveaways.
No, she is. But those McDonald's meals in the
Those
past,
McDonald's meals, it's a value meal that they slap on a BTS or a Cbd logo.
But you would think that they had like something different, like a different sandwich or something.
Right.
What I love, because
I can't think of anyone who...
The thing about Mariah is that...
I would never have thought of Mariah at McDonald's.
Okay, the thing about Mariah is that Mariah, like people that don't really follow her or just casually listen to her, don't understand her sense of humor. Right. Did you see the official, like, or one of the official pictures of this is her coming out of the ocean?
That's one of the officials? I thought that was a meme.
No, that's not a meme. That's one of the official pictures.
Okay, so I love it. She's in on the joke.
Right.
She's in on the joke. Okay, I got it. Okay.
And she's not wearing a mermaid dress by coincidence.
Honestly, I thought that was a meme.
No, it wasn't.
That is the official announcement picture.
Or one of right. Because there's one that she's holding the phone.
It's an official picture.
It's even in the McDonald's page.
Oh, I swear to God, I thought that was a meme.
No, it's not. Because that's laughing at the memes of her.
Every year she comes out of the ocean for Christmas.
Yes.
Right.
And the meme is like after Christmas. And now it's that
time
when Mariah has to go into the ocean. I think it's already the ocean, right? The ocean and only come out next year. Right. So she's totally in on it.
Okay, I love it even more now.
Yeah.
But I mean, so is McDonald's going to have like a champagne flute meal? Because I don't see Mariah having like a cherry Coke.
a high C fructose, type of beverage.
I barely see her having a Big Mac. I can see her having fries.
Yes.
Fries for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe if she's feeling particularly decadent that day, an apple pie.
Yes. Like, oh, darling, no.
Yeah. A spoon of a McFlurry, maybe.
Right. I just think it's so fun.
But I don't understand, where did this come from?
People don't understand the farceness of it.
They don't get it. They don't get it's funny because she kind of does the same thing that Celine Dion does, which is, laugh at herself. But the thing is that Mariah has created a character and then laughs via the character.
Yeah.
Without breaking character. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's almost performance art.
I guess you could put it that way.
It's...
I'm going to McDonald's website. See? McDonald's website.
Okay, that's fucking beautiful.
Or McDonald's Instagram.
That is fucking phenomenal.
It's her coming out of the ocean.
That I had seen the picture, but again, I thought it was a meme. I thought it was somebody had just put it together.
No. She's in on it. She's in on it.
And there's going to be giveaways and all that. Yeah. But it's just, again, I don't automatically think Mariah and McDonald's.
And I've told you my whole issue with...
she's not even Scottish. She's Irish.
She's Irish. I've told you my whole issue with All I Want for Christmas Is You. I like that during Christmas, everybody talks about her and everybody plays a song. But I also don't like that now everybody associates her with that song.
That's her legacy.
It's her legacy. And
there are worse legacies to have.
There are. And there's 18 number one songs that she wrote that she has under her belt.
That nobody cares about.
It's not that nobody cares about, but now everybody just talks about All I Want for Christmas Is You. Like, that's what she's known for. Right. That's what, she's also milked it,
Yeah, again, she's in on the joke. She's embraced it.
But it's like, okay... But she's also done all these like really awesome things. The only artist that has 18 number one singles. She wrote in all of them. She is the only artist to have a number one single every year of a decade.
Right. There's other accomplishments.
So, anyway, moving right along. So it was also a really big week this week for Big Bird.
Okay, what is the Big Bird thing? I've seen the memes. Those are I have to believe those are memes and not from the television workshop.
So Big Bird.
What happened with Big
Bird? Posted. I don't know if it was on Instagram or on Twitter.
Okay.
Big Bird got vaccinated because Big Bird is 6.
This is true. Yes.
Right. Big Bird
we all know Big Bird is 6. Yes.
And now kids can get vaccinated.
Okay.
So Big Bird
went and got vaccinated.
Big Bird put a picture saying like, "Oh, I got vaccinated today, and my wing is a little sore, but this is going to help people and whatever."
Okay, right. In that beautiful Sesame Street way that we all love.
So leave it to Ted Cruz to ruin a party.
God, is Ted Cruz like the American Canadian Pierce Morgan?
Oh. The American Cuban Canadian,
I got so many hyphens. You want to talk about somebody who lives in the hyphen without living in the hyphen?
Of course, leave it to him to ruin a good time. He tweeted, "Oh, this is propaganda for 5-year-olds." And then all the anti-vaxxers, all these like people started jumping on in that Big Bird is a communist, blah, blah,
Is
blah,
he
blah,
really?
blah.
Wow.
So now people started showing how since like the 70s, Big Bird has done PSAs and different
For everything,
things
yes,
for
of
different
course.
vaccines.
Yeah.
Right?
This is just part of the course for Sesame Street, guys.
Right? But specifically to vaccines.
For vaccines. Okay,
Yeah, like,
okay, that I didn't know.
Pictures from the 70s and 80s.
Like you got like the polio vaccine or whatever.
Telling
Yeah.
kids to go vaccinate
Get your
themselves
chicken pox
for
or whatever.
different,
Right, measles.
things at the time.
La rubiola.
Right? So this is nothing new, right? But Big Bird,
But there was no social media back then.
right? And then actually, there's now like a funny account that now is like getting all this traction. That is Big Bird for Congress.
That I saw. That's why I was like, because I saw all of those and I'm like, what? There's got to be something happening here. Like, there's got to be a reason, and I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
So all of this is because a Muppet got a vaccine.
Yes.
Got it. I'm so glad we have nothing more important to talk about in the world.
Yep. Propaganda for 5-year-olds.
You know, there were people who literally, I think it was in Texas, died at a concert, due to the stage being rushed. But no, Ted, by all means, focus on the real issues that are happening in your state when a Muppet gets a vaccine.
Well,
Right.
But then again,
Right.
he's
Focus.
on his way to Puerto Vallarta.
He probably can't even pronounce it right.
So,
I'm talking about un cubano arrepentido.
well, he's
And you know what?
Canadian.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I usually call people out for being arrepentido. It's like, embrace your culture. And I'm like, no, it's okay, Ted. That's okay.
We don't need you.
We're quite okay.
We're quite okay, Ted.
Fine.
We're quite okay.
We're fine.
Yeah, I just think he's the most awful.
I don't need
awfuls.
the human equivalent of a walking douche to claim our culture.
No,
Thanks.
I'll
fine.
pass on it too. So yeah, it was a big week for Big Bird.
Big Bird.
You know that. Okay, this is like really stupid. Maybe I don't know. Our listeners, maybe some of you will understand what I'm saying, or some of you may think I'm crazy, but I think you'll get it.
Okay.
Do you know that when Kermit and Miss Piggy are on a show, like the other day they were on The View,
Right.
do you know that in my mind, how do I explain this? It's like, oh, Miss Piggy's gonna be on The View, like a real celebrity.
Oh, no.
Like,
yes.
person
Yeah.
is on there.
Kermit and Miss Piggy are on The View.
Yeah.
Miss Piggy was a guest, whatever, on Drag Race.
She was.
Miss Piggy was on Drag Race. Nobody's gonna tell me that she wasn't.
She was under, and she had like opinions.
Yes, she gave advice to the drag queens. So it was a video. They did a video because it was during COVID. That's why she wasn't in studio, because all of the they had that season. It was great. That season they did video, conferences with celebrities to talk to the drag queens about oh, this week your challenge is acting and blah blah. So it was like Kylie Minogue and Anne Hathaway and Miss Piggy, were the celebrities that came on the videos. And you know what? Miss Piggy's the one I was most excited about.
Yeah.
Not gonna pretend.
And you know what I think is cool about Miss Piggy? If you think about, do you realize that Miss Piggy's fashion has evolved correctly through
I mean, do you expect anything less
the
from
80s,
Miss Piggy?
and on, or well, since we got to know her,
I mean, she's Miss Piggy.
that, because she could have very easily, I hate to say it, a puppet.
She is not.
She could
At
have
most, she's a Muppet.
she could have very easily been static, right? Like, this is what Miss Piggy looks like. But Miss Piggy, actually, her style has evolved.
Again, this goes back to your thing of Miss Piggy and Kermit were on The View.
No, that's why I tell you.
Miss Piggy,
when,
I'm convinced, goes shopping.
when I think of her, when I think of especially Miss Piggy,
Yes, right.
Like on a panel, I think of
Her
her,
hair
like,
change.
I think of her as human.
Miss Piggy has had more hairstyles than Goldie Hawn.
She has more wigs than Dolly.
Yes, well, neck and neck.
Yeah.
Están ahí.
But it's like,
But I've said this, and actually, I was recently when I was in New York, we went to the Museum of the Moving Image, and they have an exhibit on Jim Henson, and they have an entire exhibit. They have a Big Bird, they have the first Kermit, and I'm looking at these Muppets, and I'm crying. I was overwhelmed with emotion. It was like, oh my god, the Muppets. And I remember when I spoke to Luis Santero, who was not just from Que Pasa USA writer, but he wrote for Sesame Street. He would say, when celebrities would show up to the Sesame Street set to film, obviously, we know a Muppet is it's a puppet. There's a person. He's like, not a one of them, not one celebrity would acknowledge the puppeteers. From the moment they got on that set, the celebrities were speaking to Cookie Monster, Kermit, Big Bird, Oscar. That was the person.
Yeah.
That they were speaking to.
Yeah.
Because they're not a puppet. They're not a Muppet.
Right.
This is a person and you are meeting them.
Right. And like, even with them, like, I don't even care to see what's under the table. It's like, I don't.
But it doesn't exist.
Yeah,
my eye line wouldn't go there.
It doesn't even, exactly. I don't even think about it.
It wouldn't go there.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's Miss Piggy.
It's Miss Piggy. Of course it is.
It's like, just like if they had, I don't know.
Like if Big Bird showed up right now, I'd be like, that is Big Bird. That is not someone inside of a
Bird.
suit. That is Big Bird.
Yeah, it's Big Bird.
That is Big Bird.
And the wing hurts.
Big Bird showed up. That's all I need to know. Yeah.
I mean, I knew that you would probably feel that way, but like I was thinking it last week when they were on The View. That I was like, oh look, tonight on The View is like, you know, I don't know, who was on it?
Yeah, it's like you know, Kamala Harris,
Lauren Graham, Miss Piggy. You know, it's like, oh, you know, like I don't think of her differently from the human guests.
No, no, at all. She is just as big a guest, if not bigger. Oh no! Listen, if we were ever to interview Pepe the Prawn, because you know we're a Latino podcast, so we have to interview Pepe the Prawn. I would be interviewing Pepe the Prawn, like it would be obviously virtual, right? Pepe the Prawn is the one who answered that Google link.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who's on. I don't know who else.
I've always had a soft spot for Oscar.
We should have Pepe the Prawn on.
Yeah.
Or Rosita from Sesame Street.
I've always had a soft spot for Oscar, and of course there's Grover.
Grover, yes, Grover.
Far.
Listen, to this day, my favorite book is The Monster at the End of This Book. And I still read it to this day. And I love it. And it should have all of the writing awards.
Yeah. Good times, good times, good times. So what do you have?
Well, I was going to bring up the farce that was the Nicaraguan elections.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
So tell us what really happened.
Well, in a nutshell, you know, the current president and his vice president, who BT Dubs happens to be his wife, you know, as one does, essentially went around jailing all of the opposition party, all of his, you know, his competition, as well as journalists, who actually we've spoken on this before. One of the journalists that they've jailed is the father of one of the head writers, I think co-creator of the series Riverdale. I can't remember his name right now, but him. And, you know, and then they went about claiming that they had, you know, free elections. And look, we won by a landslide.
Los Sandinista.
I mean, oye, mira que tú tienes que tener la cara dura.
Well, that happens in Venezuela, you know?
Yeah, but Venezuela doesn't even pretend. You know what? Let's give Venezuela a degree of credit that they don't even pretend anymore.
No, and what's so tragic about, like, Nicaragua is that, like, this is a second go-round because they got rid of Daniel Ortega in the 90s.
And it's like herpes.
Yeah.
You thought you got rid of it, and it's back.
It came back. You know,
that should be a shirt. Daniel
this
Ortega's
is
like
very,
herpes.
This is a very big stretch. What I'm gonna make.
Okay.
But with Nicaragua,
we just acknowledge that Muppets are people. I'm sure we can take this stretch
with Nicaragua, and I'm by no means an expert or, you know, versed in Nicaraguan politics and history.
Right.
But what I do know from the little that I do know, and from speaking to friends of mine that are Nicaraguan or friends of ours, is that one of the things that got Daniel Ortega reelected was the young vote. Actually, Nicaragua has a very young median age.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because a lot of the older people left.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, they have a very, very young population. And it was your typical thing of, like, a lot of these
promises.
Younger people don't remember the
first go around
regime or everything that happened there, or, you know.
So he comes in and making promises,
right?
And
I say that, and again, this is a stretch, that I feel that that's what a lot of maybe people here in the U.S. Because we're seeing now, like, the young generation, and when I mean young generation, I mean late teens, early 20s. Talk about things that I'm like, pero, like, have you not learned anything?
What? Right,
like,
without context, right?
Like, have you not learned anything? Do you not know anything? Like, have you forgotten things? On both ends, I have to say.
Well, you just said young people, period. That's it.
But what I mean, on both ends of the political spectrum.
Right. Yeah.
Because one of the biggest disappointments, I think, of my life was this year. You know, and I was actually talking about it yesterday after trivia.
Which, by the way, thank you everyone who came out to trivia.
Yes, last night was great. Everybody, thank you. We had a great night at trivia.
We're gonna do another one in December,
and we promise the next one we're gonna have the audio working.
Yes.
But one of the things that I was saying was that, you know, one of the most disappointing things for me this year was, as somebody who's always, since I was a child, identified as progressive, liberal, Democrat. One of the biggest disappointments was this year when what I thought was my tribe, my people, similar, like-minded people, totally did not want to understand what was going on with Cuba because of their own political bias.
To the point where...
So don't talk...
To the point where what is it that it wasn't a bill. The thing that they tried to pass that was symbolic at most. Yeah. I can't.
They refused to listen to Cuban voices on the island. They refused to listen to Cubans here. They had their own, like, it's the embargo. It's American policy. Rather than listening to lived experience, you know, this is what my whole rant was about. That went viral.
Speaking of lived experiences, guys, November 15th, there is scheduled to be demonstrations on the island. So please keep an eye out for that. Share it. As Darian is saying, listen to people's lived experiences. It's not about us here. It's about them there.
Yeah.
And we need to amplify that voice.
And I was like, holy shit, these people are like totally not everybody, but a lot of these people are totally not getting it. Like, they're not getting it. They don't know history. They're putting their own biases, you know, it's clouding them to see the truth.
Well, they're not seeing the forest for the trees.
And and I think that on both ends, a lot of younger people, especially now in this age of social media, that everybody has a platform and everybody has an opinion, they're you know, they say that, people rewrite history, but in a way they are kind of rewriting history too, because they're looking at things from perspectives that aren't necessarily accurate or true for that matter. So yes, no, Cuba does not have a great medical system. Yes, everybody has free medicine
when it's available.
Which,
if you're lucky,
never available.
Right, exactly.
So, you know.
Yes, everyone can read. And they read what the government says is okay to read.
Yes.
So it's lovely to be literate and only read propaganda. But you know what? Speaking of having platforms to get your voice heard, this week's guest has had his own platform for quite some time. So he's a little divisive. Love him, hate him. We actually say that a couple times during the interview, for better, worse. But at the end of the day, you cannot deny that he is a local boy who has made a name for himself.
Perez Hilton. I was really looking forward to this interview.
Yep.
Because he, you know, again, love him or hate him, he made a name for himself, and not
literally,
yes, and not everybody could pull that off.
Nope. So here is our interview with, I say it in the interview, the original celebrity blogger, Perez Hilton. All right, mi gente. Well, as we said, this week we have with us, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and say it, the biggest celebrity blogger, I'm going to just say that ever was. And we are lucky enough that he's from our hometown. He's a fellow Huechete boy just like us. Of course, we are only talking about the one and only Perez Hilton. Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you for having me. I am so proud to be from Miami. And I'm also so grateful that I don't live there anymore.
Oh, boy.
It's a double-edged sword, right?
Although I say that because my experience was very specific.
Right.
During a specific time when things were different. I would like to hope that Miami has improved a lot. I grew up in the 80s and 90s in Miami.
We're about the same age,
when it wasn't quite as cosmopolitan as it is now. And by cosmopolitan, I mean more than just Cubans, okay? Now you have all the Venezuelans and all people from all other Latin American countries in South America or, you know, with the ascendance of Art Basel and things like that. Sure. I would, and, you know, with the Adrian Arsht Center there and, you know, it being more cultured and all of that, I would like to think that Miami is a more open, accepting, tolerant place. I did not have that experience growing up. It sucks to feel that you can't be yourself with your family or friends. And it's not just because I was gay, although it was, but I think, you know, if I was a heterosexual in the 90s going to my all-boy Jesuit school, and if I told my parents, you know, I'm going to graduate and I want to be a professional sculptor, they would have been like, ¿Qué carajo? You want to be a
sculptor? In all fairness, all immigrant children, if they say they want to go into the arts, their parents are like, no. Tú estudia business administration o algo así.
I don't know. I don't, well, I mean, yes, but yes, you're right. Maybe immigrant children, but I would hope that third, fourth generation kids that are now parents there in Miami will be more accepting and tolerant of their children and whatever they want to do. So long, you know, I literally tell my kids this all the time, because I think one of the secrets to my success is the fact that I am Latino. It's like a superpower to me because I have that Cuban work ethic, that immigrant mentality, right? So I tell my children all the time, I will love you and support you emotionally in everything you do. But when you're grown up, I'm not going to support you financially. And I will love you and accept you, ... unless you are lazy. I will not tolerate lazy children, okay?
Oye, he just recited like the Cuban parent mantra, you know, where it's just like, I will love you, pero you cannot be a drain on society.
No puede ser un vago. But actually, I think that's a great starting point, because I feel that with Perez Hilton, you kind of exploded on the scene, and not a lot of people maybe know the journey, if you will, of, you know, Mario to how we go from Mario, a kid in, you know, Miami, Florida, a Cuban kid in Miami, Florida, going to a Catholic school, to Perez Hilton. How did that whole thing happen?
I think Perez was born before he ever was made public. And I've only recently done the digging and the work and realized all of this. You know, my dad died tragically suddenly when I was still in high school, between freshman and sophomore year of high school. And he had an aneurysm, and he died 7 days after my grandfather did. And I wouldn't say it's a typical Latino experience, but I would say that it's far more accepted and commonplace in Latino culture to have your grandparents live with you than it is in Anglo-American culture. So my grandfather lived with us, and he passed away, but he was really old. And then a week later, my dad died. And, you know, like I said, this was a long time ago. It was in the 90s. And my mother, I have so much grace and compassion and empathy and understanding for her. She was just trying to survive because she lost both her father and her husband in a week. You know, I would think that if something like that were to happen to my children, I would put them in therapy and try to heal the trauma. But my mom and I, we didn't talk about it. We didn't go.
Therapy was not really a thing for our generation growing up and the generation before us, really.
But what I did do, and what I viewed as what saved me, really, was pop culture, celebrity, entertainment. Instead of processing the severe trauma that happened, I immersed myself, lost myself, buried myself in television specifically. I remember I would come home from school and start watching TV, and I would not stop watching television until after midnight. You know, I did really well at school with minimal effort. And I went to a hard school. I went to Belen.
You went to Belen. That is not an easy school, my friend.
Because I was doing well in school, my mom didn't care.
Right.
Although, you know, I'm thankful also for that, because now that I'm older, I realize the importance of sleep and instilling that in my children. So you know, you learn so much about the kind of parent you want to be by how you were parented. So I'm the most fun, awesome dad, but I'm also a disciplinarian and very strict. But yeah, that TV, man, was my therapy. And that really was, I would say, the genesis of Perez Hilton. Because I always liked pop culture and celebrity and entertainment before that, but then it kind of became my life, my savior in a way.
So I remember, because, you know, I've been a fan of your website, or I used to visit your website from back in the day, and I remember your website started as, well, was it page 666 or something like that? Like, that was really old school. How? Because I think that with you, I mean, PerezHilton.com at one point, wasn't it one of like the highest trafficked websites in the world? You know, like millions and millions of views a day. I can't imagine that when you started this, you knew that it was going to get that big. What made you at the time go into like the blogosphere, you know, be another blog?
Well, that was the thing at the time, a really long time ago in 2004. You know, it was really pre-social media. In 2004, there was no YouTube, there was no Twitter, there was no Instagram, there was no TikTok, there was no Bigo, there was no Tumblr.
I think you're making some of these up. I'm not. There's so many of them.
What did exist in 2004 was MySpace, Friendster. Does anybody remember Friendster?
Yeah, I was talking about that the other day. I had completely forgotten about Friendster.
Yeah, Friendster was right before MySpace.
Yep, MySpace, Friendster, and then Facebook launched that same year, 2004, but it was invite only and for college students, so it wasn't a huge thing yet. You know, if I were to start today, I wouldn't say, oh, I'm going to start a blog. It'll be like, how can I make being a content creator happen? Which is kind of daunting, right? Because now, like, how do you start? Like, you try to do it all, I think, or you pick one app or platform that you want to be huge on. Although I don't necessarily agree with that approach, because I don't think you should put all your eggs in one basket. Like, what if they change the algorithm? What if you get banned from there, God forbid, or whatever it might be? I really think it's important to be everywhere. And I would not wish an influencer career upon anyone.
You know when was like, I don't know, for me at least, like when I thought that, I was like, okay, this guy made it big. When you were on Victoria Beckham's reality show, you offered her a cookie. Which I thought was hilarious.
That was 2000.
But I remember I was like, okay, man. Yeah, I was like, this is much more than just a guy who runs a blog. You know, this has turned into now sort of a phenomenon, you know, of entertainment. You know, it's like you created a brand. Actually, that's what I wanted to say. You created a brand before I think creating a brand was a thing.
I wouldn't even frame it that way. I would say that I luckily was able to transcend, right? Like, I became bigger than that dude from that blog. Right. I became Perez Hilton, who could do it all. You know, thankfully I left Miami, went to New York City, studied drama at NYU, because you see this all the time. Like, let's say you're just hot and young and you're a poppin' influencer because you're hot and young, which a lot of them are, and it's easy for them. If you take them out of the safety net of what they do every day, they don't often translate to doing other things like hosting, speaking eloquently,
I
being
wouldn't put some of those people in front
spontaneous.
of a camera that can actually have sound. Like, they would be great for silent films, but I wouldn't put them to talkie, like, at all. It's,
Yeah, so I think a lot of things contributed to my success. Like I said, one is the Latino work ethic. Another one was that I was doing things differently than had been done before. So that helped me get a lot of attention. And
you were definitely the and my French is horrible, but the enfant terrible of celebrity bloggers, weren't you?
Yes.
You were kind of the naughty boy who was, you know, just going out there on that limb in a way that gossip columnists hadn't necessarily, you know, been before, right? I mean,
oh, they had. They've always, you know, that archetype existed a long time ago, from Hedda Hopper to Luella Parsons to Winston Winchell to Cindy Adams and so on and so forth. I think I reinvented that in a way, or not, because also those people too, a lot of them, they did acting and they played themselves or they played characters and this or that or the other. So the fact that I was able to diversify early on and be bigger than my blog helped. You know, I was doing hosting, reality television, all of these different things, you know, that weren't for traditional media and the mainstream. I still wouldn't be here today.
Yeah, no, you definitely. It's because of your personality. I think you are a personality, right? And that's bigger than just words on a page, shall we say?
Right, but you, for better or for worse, you became a household name, because not all gossip, columnists or there were other bloggers in your time that were very successful and had very good blogs, but they were not household names. But you became a household name. Like, everybody knew who Perez Hilton was. You know, that's why I say for better or for worse, but they knew who he was. And, you know, you were naughty. You were naughty. Do you think a lot of it has to do also that you were also very, because you're our same age, you were also very young?
Yeah, but I wasn't that young, so I can't.
Perez, you're the same age as us. You were young. Shh. Don't say otherwise.
I can't excuse my behavior on youth or even ignorance. You know, I'm very honest, bluntly, not just about celebrities, but also about myself. You know, when I was naughty, as you say, or others might say cruel, I knew at the time what I was doing. Purposefully, exactly. I was rewarded for that bad behavior. So, you know, it was for somebody who grew up poor, you know, I went to Belen, but on a scholarship, and my parents never drove their brand new car. They had to make a lot of sacrifices to get me into that school. You know, so I wouldn't say I was poor. Okay, I would say I was very middle, normal, middle class.
Working class, like we were.
Yeah, exactly. So then all of a sudden, to go from that, where your brain thinks it's in starvation mode, to then have success where it's feast mode, it's like feast or famine. Like, your brain wants to keep feasting, and you're going to do whatever possible to keep that up. So, oh, I did this one thing and that worked. Well, I'm going to do that one thing and do it at like 110.
Yeah.
Well, I you know, what you just mentioned in terms of, you know, being mean or cruel, whatever, I hate to ask you this, but I feel I have to ask you. You know, now I feel that we are in a time of, like, reckoning, and, you know, the reckoning of Britney Spears. You know, the reckoning of Britney Spears, whereas people are now looking back on the treatment of Britney Spears on all forms of media, whether it was TV media, blogs, or just the public itself. What role do you think that you had in the whole demonization, or, you know, just the whole treatment of Britney Spears at the time?
I definitely take accountability. will say that, but I understand the desire for people to want things simplified. Mm-hmm. It's easier to be able to blame villains for what happened to Britney Spears. But the truth is, no one is to blame. The reason Britney Spears was placed in a conservatorship and stayed in one for far too long, but was in one for a long time, was because she had, and most likely still has, severe mental health issues. If she hadn't, she would not have been in this situation. There are so many people who are out of control with addiction, who are not placed in conservatorships. Mm-hmm. You know, Britney had a slew of doctors and judges and people that looked over this. And it was because of her mental illness that she was in that situation. Having said that, did I make her life any easier? Did I help? No, I straight up hurt. But me and the media and the paparazzi, we are not the reason why Britney was in that conservatorship.
Right. It's a very complicated issue. It doesn't have a single layer. I just, something we've talked about here in the podcast several times is that, a lot of times people have selective outrage. Like right now, of last year, it was all against R. Kelly, rightfully so. But it's like, somebody like R. Kelly had been showing you who he was for years. Back when we were in high school, again, we're the same age. Remember when he was married to Aaliyah? People knew that. When he was in the early 2000s, when the child sex tape came out where he was peeing on the minors, people were stepping in the name of love, and it's like, okay, but then this documentary comes out and all of a sudden is like down with R. Kelly, and now with Britney this documentary comes out. And
another great example of that is Chris Brown.
Mm-hmm.
We know who Chris Brown is, mm-hmm. and yet here in Los Angeles, when I get in the car, I hear him played on the radio, on an iHeart station, getting that cosign, right. That stamp of approval. And we know who he is, not even just with the incident with Rihanna, but there have been so many women throughout the years that have made allegations against Chris Brown as well. And look at him getting played on the radio.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm not, and I'm not calling for him to get taken off the radio either. I don't believe in canceling people,
right?
Because I don't want that happened to me. That people try to cancel me all the time. People will cancel themselves, okay? Like I wish people realize that you don't have to cancel anybody. People will cancel themselves.
Well, I also want to, in a way, commend you because as mean as you were, you also unilaterally made a turnaround, and I feel that you did this before kind of like the cancel culture, if you will, that we're talking about 5-6 years ago. It's been probably 10 years that you yourself decided like, hey, this is not the route I want to take anymore. This is what I want to do now. What made you do that turn?
Well, like I said, I began my career as Perez Hilton in 2004. Around 2008, I started having thoughts of doing things differently. And what led me to that was that's also the same time where I began my health and wellness journey. If you remember old Perez with the crazy hair colors, and I was extremely unhealthy, very heavy. I found for myself, but I do believe that this is a universal truth. The healthier I became, the happier I became. And my thoughts even changed. But I was afraid to act on these new thoughts. I was afraid to change because by that point, I had already established my brand and been Perez for 4 years. So I was paralyzed into inaction for 2 more years after that, until it got to the Oprah moment where I had to change. And by that I mean, you know, on the very last episode of the Oprah Winfrey Show, which I consider must-see television for every human being alive. It was the last show, not the one with Beyonce at the United Center, but it was her by herself, sharing basically everything she'd learned in life up until that point. And one of the things that she said that resonated with me the strongest was, Oprah said, just listen. It sounds cheesy and simple, but she said, God, the universe, your gut, your intuition, whatever you want to call it, has the answers. And if you don't listen, that whisper will get louder. And if you don't listen, it'll start speaking even louder. And if you're still ignoring, it's going to smack you upside the head. And that's exactly what happened to me in the fall of 2010. I had heard that voice in my head saying change, 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 but I was ignoring it. I wasn't listening to it. I wasn't honoring it because of fear. And then, you know, thankfully, we've never seen anything like this before, and we haven't seen anything like this since. But in the fall of 2010, there was this rash of gay teenagers that died by suicide. Over 20 within a span of like 3 months. I had never seen anything like that before. And this journalist named Dan Savage created this campaign called It Gets Better. And because it's my job to be plugged in and know what's happening, I think I had gotten the press release, and I found out about it the very same day he launched. And I was the first public figure or personality to make an It Gets Better video. And I thought, wow, in this moment of darkness, I'm doing something positive to shine light and spread positivity. But the response that I got to that video was my Oprah brick upside the head moment. It shook me to my core, because in reality, people viewed that video as something negative. They said to me, how dare you make an It Gets Better video when you're part of the problem? You're a hypocrite. You're a bully. And, you know, prior to that, I had deluded myself with all sorts of different talking points, like, you know, I'm just saying what everybody's thinking, or, you know, not everybody likes me, but
keeping it real.
Yeah, all sorts of crazy, stupid lies that I was feeding my brain in order to like allow me to continue to do what I did. That was the moment where I said, okay, sorry. That was the moment where I said, okay, I, you know, can't continue doing this anymore. And I made a change. And now I'm in a little bit of a cynical, pessimistic place where, you know, it's been 11 years since then. Wow. And I know I've changed. I don't have to prove it to anybody, but the majority of the world isn't willing to see me for who I am today. They want to keep me in this box of my past. And even if they can acknowledge that I've changed, most people will say, all right, well, you know, he used to be an absolutely horrible, putrid, despicable, vile human being. Now he's just a vile human being. So he's improved, but he's still vile.
Mira, you know what you have to tell people? Tell people what my mom says. I showed my mom one time pictures of you and your mom. I think you were in India. And my mom said, cualquier persona que es tan bueno con la madre es buena persona. Like, you know, anybody who's so good to their parent is a good person. Because actually, I have to tell you, I love the pictures of your mom. Like, when you guys go on adventures, it's sort of, in a way, refreshing, because it's so kind of like out of, you know,
it's funny you
out of like the norm.
People just need to realize there's a difference between being mean and being sassy. And you know what? Sassy takes wit and talent.
Not even that. I've noticed also, I think that they're going to change how they perceive things, but, you know, I'm old now. You're old now.
Hey.
It's okay. being
older.
Being old is a blessing. I am so grateful to be getting older because I'm still here and I'm healthy, thank God. But a lot of young people are of the school of thought that any opinion that is critical, if you express that critical opinion, even if you do it in a non-hurtful way, that's bullying. And that's not true. You don't have to like, condone, or approve of something. And you can publicly state that and do it in a way that's not nasty, mean, cruel, or hurtful. But young people, they have convinced themselves that any critical opinion is bullying. And they're in for a rough time in life because even at work, they're going to have to deal with critiques of their... Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes a fugly dress is a fugly dress, guys.
I got called a boomer the other day on TikTok on Twitter because somebody said, who uses business cards anymore? It's like wasteful and pollutes the environment, blah blah blah. And I go, well, there's a lot of professions. I have a background in law that still use it. Like law, everybody uses business cards. Oh my gosh, I got told off. Well, the planet is like this because of people like you, and I'm like, what? Yeah. This is over business cards. Like,
I know, or something similar to that I've seen happen regularly. I've seen these woke crusaders attack celebrities for not putting their pronouns in their bio. Yeah. Like, I get it. That's important to you. Great. You put your pronouns in your bio, but not everybody has to do that.
Right. And if they don't, you can probably assume.
And just because somebody doesn't put their pronouns in their bio doesn't mean that person is transphobic or this or that or the other.
Yeah. It's kind of like an all or nothing approach, that a lot of people are taking. So let's because I know you got to go soon. And people listening to this are definitely going to want a little bit of conversation of gossip. What would you say? Let's talk a little bit about celebrities. Obviously, what would you say has been the celebrity that has surprised you the most, that you thought one thing about this person and in reality they were totally different?
He's digging deep. He's thinking.
I would say the celebrity that surprised me the most is Gloria Estefan, because they have that, they say don't meet your idols because they often disappoint, but she didn't. She surpassed.
I'm so glad that's where the story went. I was
good. Yeah. I was scared for a minute.
I was like, God, I'm gonna have to edit this, aren't I?
No, she surpassed all of my expectations and my dreams because I grew up like you guys in Miami in a very specific time where she was everything. And I would literally fantasize and daydream that she was my aunt. And I would get to travel the world with her and be on tour, and I could get front row seats to all her shows. And, also seeing Gloria succeed gave me hope and it inspired me. I'm like, if Gloria can make it, I can make it. And, I've gotten to more than meet her. I consider her part of my family now. She's always been so kind and gracious to me, and both of her children are friends of mine, so she's family. And I was just surprised by how she is, not just with me, because obviously, some people are going to be nice to me because I'm a public figure or whatever, but I look at her and how she is with all of her fans. If you follow her on Twitter, she sends her fans birthday messages on Twitter. She really doesn't take them for granted, is so grateful for everything, is so kind and just magnanimous and just everything that you would love for your favorites to be.
Yeah, you never hear anything bad about her. That's the thing. Nobody's ever said anything bad about Gloria Estefan.
Because my dad died suddenly when I was young, for the longest time, I was unhealthily obsessed with death, scared of it. But now I'm like, whatever, I could fucking die tomorrow. I'm good. Mm-hmm. I don't want to die tomorrow because I have 3 young children.
Yeah.
But I've lived such a full, exciting life. I literally have lived all of my beyond my wildest dreams.
Yeah. But you know what? And you still keep doing stuff because you have your podcast. You have the Perez Hilton podcast, and that's been going for a little bit now. So it's
6 years plus.
Dang. Okay, we're only at 4, so we got 2 more to catch up to. But you know, it's again, it's just I think it's a testament to what you were saying earlier about the Latino hustle, right? Growing up with it's like, all right, here's what we're working on, and now we're going to work on this, and now we're going to work on this, and not stopping, right? Like always keeping going. And to that end, you also have another business venture, yo. You got My True 10, which I think it's CBD. Is that?
Yes.
He's got visuals, ladies and gentlemen.
I just launched this, My True 10. It's my new CBD company, and I'm so proud of it because CBD is like the wild, wild west.
For sure.
It's not regulated. It's not regulated by the FDA. So not all CBD is created equal. Like some of it is just bad. It doesn't work. It might be like a placebo. I don't know. But I literally guarantee that you'll be happy with My True 10. And if you're not, you can get your money back.
I'm going to take your word. I'm going to take you up on that offer, sir, because I'm going to be out in LA in early next year, and I'm going to pick up.
Check out our satisfaction policy on our website, mytrue10.com.
Oh, no. If not, I'm going to reach out to your sister. I have her email.
Okay.
I'm going to take you up on the guarantee direct, sir.
It's very affordable as well, which is important to me. So mytrue10.com.
What would you say to like the people that are still like hesitant about it, that are like, oh my God, it's drugs, it's this and that? Because there's still
one of those people. My mom literally thinks I'm like peddling drugs.
Su hijo el drogadicto.
I don't know how many times I have to tell her our CBD gummies have no THC in them. You will not fail a drug test. You're not going to get high off of these, which is a good thing because I'm not a fan of THC. And I've actually found out it's not all that uncommon.
Thank you for being on our show. As I said to you, I think that you're the type of person that, love or hate you, you can't deny the hustle behind who you are. And even back in the day when maybe you would do things and I'd be like, oh my God, did he just do that? There was still a part of me that was like, this kid is just like us. He is, he's Cuban, he's from Miami, he grew up in the same neighborhood, and look where he is. So there's always been a sense of, pride, like, oh my God, he's one of us. And look at him out there doing, some crazy stuff, but, nonetheless, you paved your own way. That's why I think that I say, love him or hate him, you got to respect the hustle.
Nobody can take that away from you, man.
Nobody can take that away from you. And we're so happy and thrilled that you were on our show. You really were, as I told you pre-interview, we had a wish list of people to be on the show, and you were one of them. Or that Preston will never be on our show. Like, what the heck?
I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
And we're back.
Yeah. So
I have to give him credit that he owned what he needed to own.
He didn't try to shirk responsibility. At all. And I genuinely, we talked about this after we did the interview. I genuinely believe him when he says that, that he's...
I think it's very sincere.
He's in a different place now.
Yeah, I think it's very sincere.
And listen, aside from the fact that he kept insisting on calling us old, I think there is something to be said for, follies of youth. Even though he himself even said it. He's like, it's not because I was young, it's just because I knew what I was doing.
Yeah, but... I thought he was very sincere, and he was very pleasant. He was very, very cool, very nice. So thank you, Perez.
Yes, thank you again. Like you said, it was one of our wish list guests.
So our wish list is like we have a lot of.
We need to come up with new wish lists.
Well, I mean, it's not a secret.
It's
not a secret. Like our the two people that we have not had on the show yet that are our dream guests are, of course, Gloria Stefan.
Gloria, of course.
I mean, is there anything we could do that does not involve Gloria Stefan?
Right. The only thing bigger than Gloria Stefan would be like if we get a Ouija board and get Celia Cruz.
Yeah, well.
I'm saying that's the only...
How that's going to translate through this audio medium, I'm not sure. Stranger things have happened.
Stranger things have happened,
But,
yeah.
and then, of course, the one, the only
Ms.
Gina
Gina
Torres,
Torres, yes.
which I bow at the,
The altar of
Gina.
Gina.
Torres and Jessica Pearson. So yeah, that was really awesome. And you know what? Not that it needed any type of, verification or like it needed to be said. But what he did say about Gloria Estefan was just like so warm and like, well, yeah, like
It's like, okay, all right, okay, good.
That's why, as I said, a couple of weeks ago, that
Like, what more do people want?
what more do people want of Gloria Estefan? Like, freaking leave her alone. She's freaking godlike at this point, pious. Like, yeah, move on. Leave her alone. She's a legend. Anyway, so it's soda time.
It is soda time.
So I'm gonna be quick.
Okay.
I'm gonna give my last soda. He's having already a really good week. I'm gonna give it to Paul Rudd, who was named People Magazine's sexiest man alive. Paul Rudd is just one of these like.
He just seems like good people.
Yes, he's just like this like force of sunshine, of happiness, of like a good guy. Like he'd be one of these people that like if I heard that privately he was an asshole, like it would break my heart.
It would hurt.
Like it would hurt.
It would hurt.
Paul Rudd, like it would really hurt.
Yeah.
So and I also think there could be a conversation to be had about these People Magazine, most beautiful people on earth,
whatever.
sexiest man alive. There could be a conversation as to like the relevance of that nowadays. But I'm glad that they went with, because he's not like, like Brad Pitt, type looks. He has like more guy next door looks.
I call him attainable hot.
He has guy next door looks.
Right, yeah.
So I'm glad that they're at least celebrating that,
Yeah, that's true.
I feel the same way about him, although, Ryan Reynolds is more attractive. Well, I don't want to say that in a bad way.
No, but I know what you mean.
Right.
Like,
But
more
like,
obviously.
Like Ryan Reynolds, like I freaking love Ryan Reynolds. Like,
great.
is there
Fucking
anything
great.
Ryan Reynolds could do wrong?
I love when he's always like messing with his wife.
Yeah. Like the pictures they put.
Yeah, like I love that he's always him and Blake Lively are always just messing with each other.
Yeah.
Like that's fun.
Like he was on the Today Show this week and he was just like so hilarious. Like
he's just himself.
yeah, like there's supposedly there's this like I hadn't seen it, but maybe this whole like viral moment of him of like straight men, gooey and gogging.
Oh no, I
Ryan
didn't know
Reynolds.
this. No.
Yeah, there's like a whole.
It's a thing.
Yeah, thing about it, and I'm like, if anybody could pull that off,
It's Ryan Reynolds.
So
That's true. That's true.
So
I'm actually gonna give my last soda. It's not even a gasless soda.
Snap, Crackle, and Pop.
No,
Rice Krispies.
No,
What are their names? Snap, Crackle, and
Snap,
Pop.
Crackle,
Right,
and Pop,
that's
yeah,
their names.
It's not even a gasless soda. I'm just gonna go ahead and give it. It's a Beverly. Which, for those of you who don't know, the Beverly is an actual Coca-Cola product from Italy, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes.
That tastes like earwax. So that is the level of soda that I am gifting to our very own Miami Mayor, Francis Suarez. Francis Suarez, just as of the day of this recording, has said, and I'm going to read verbatim what the Herald wrote on their Instagram post about it. Miami residents may soon be getting a Bitcoin yield thanks to the Miami Coin Project. In an interview with cryptocurrency news site Coindesk.com, Miami Mayor Francis Suarez said he was planning to convert the millions of dollars in proceeds Miami Coin has created into a Bitcoin dividend. We're going to be the first city in America to give a Bitcoin yield as a dividend directly to its residents, Suarez said. We're going to create digital wallets for our residents, and we're going to give them Bitcoin directly from the yield of Miami Coin. The wallets will be set up with a third-party vendor, he said. Suarez himself laid out key questions that would need to be answered before the city government could dole out cryptocurrency as dividends. Like, is it going to be taxpayers? Is it going to be those who vote in the city? Is it, going to be people that have a city address, et cetera, et cetera? So they got to work out the kinks. But the reason I'm giving him the Beverly is because con todas las cosas, Mayor Postalita, con todas las cosas que se necesitan en esta ciudad, okay? You're going to give us money in a digital. I can't even put any better. One of the comments,
dude, Bitcoin, bro.
Bro, you don't understand, bro. It's like we're making moves with the Bitcoin. So I can't put it any better than somebody who it's 2 comments that were on this post. One person said, "Can someone explain in plain words, please?" Okay. And the reply to that was, "People will be given imaginary money they can't spend anywhere and won't know how to access it." And I have never heard a better explanation of the inevitable clusterfuck that will be this Bitcoin yield. And also, I commented on it on behalf of us. I'm saying, so like socialism?
So
because what's happening there is he's essentially saying, I'm going to give you all money.
You know what I think is
for
interesting
existing,
about
right?
Bitcoin?
That nobody knows what it is.
Well, but have you noticed that it's become like a douchey thing?
No, it's always been
Like douchey people are into Bitcoin.
Oh yeah, it might as well be sponsored by Massengill.
Like nobody, like douchey people weren't into Apple Pay or Google Pay or like a Cash App.
Well, no, because they can't seem smarter than people.
Yeah.
People who are into Bitcoin, for the most part, like to be into Bitcoin for the same reason that people like to be into Lost.
Yeah. There's no rhyme or reason.
So they could just talk to you about things and sound like they're talking about a thing that nobody else understands but them. Right. Yeah. That's why people are into Bitcoin. Because if all these people who invested in Bitcoin were making all the millions of dollars that they're making, quote unquote, in Bitcoin, you know what? There would be a lot more rich people in Miami. Real rich people, not Miami rich. Because as we know, Miami rich just means you have a really nice car and you live in an efficiency.
Oh, well, yeah. You have your BMW parked in front of your efficiency.
Right. That's Miami rich.
That BMW.
Right. That's Miami rich. Right. So, yeah. So, it's like he just keeps doubling down on this crypto bullshit. It's not a thing, people. It's not a thing.
Especially to, like, the general public.
Right.
In Miami.
And again, it's like, oh, I'm going to set up a digital wallet to pay you dividends. It's like, hold up, baby boy. Because every time somebody talks about communism, you're the first one down the street running, saying, eso comunismo, comunismo, comunismo. And now you're turning around and being like, oh, but I'm just going to give you money because I can.
Mm-hmm. Bitcoin, bro.
Figure it out, baby. Okay? Figure it out, homeboy.
Bitcoin.
I can't stand Bitcoin.
I guess you're not investing in it anytime soon.
Why? Nobody has been able to explain it to me.
Not only that, but if somebody would be able to tell me, like, the only thing I can think of...
stocks?
I think that you could buy a Tesla.
Great, I can buy one car.
I think, but...
No, you can.
Right. Okay, I could buy a Tesla.
Great, if I don't want a Tesla, because I live in an apartment and I can't have an extension cord running from my house...
You could come to my house and charge it.
Okay, well, so now I'll get Bitcoin.
I have one.
Now I'll get Bitcoin.
But I didn't buy my Tesla with Bitcoin. I bought it with good old Benjamins.
Bro, you're so, like, 2008.
You're 2000 late. I got that boom boom pow.
I got that Bitcoin now.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
I know. We're quick. Good. We're quick here. We're quick.
Good.
Nobody's been able to explain it to me either. That's my biggest thing. Is I've tried because I'm like, okay, so explain it to me, and they're like, no, because you buy it and it's kind of like money, but then it's not really, and then it sits there and you can use it, but you can't really go to like Target. Or whatever. I'm like, okay, so you've told me nothing. Right, the nearest I can get is that it's kind of like stocks.
Right, but if Bitcoin had been around for... Bitcoin has already been around for
a couple of years.
A couple of years, for a minute already. So if there was already like a lot of things that you could buy with Bitcoin...
Right.
Okay,
if I had to go to Starbucks.
Right, I understand. I would understand it more. But the fact that you still can't really buy anything with it... Because I'm not saying that it's the future.
Maybe it is.
Maybe it is. That, you know, in generations from now, cryptocurrency is going to be the thing. But the people that are hyping it up now, that's the part that I don't get, because you still can't really do anything.
You're not showing me.
It's not really relevant.
You're not showing me the point.
Yeah.
You're not showing me the point. And also, to me, at the end of the day, I mean, like I said, cryptocurrency, at the end of the day, is the shit that you use on like the dark web to buy, like, I don't know.
Yeah, and look, as far as because some people make the argument, it's like, oh, but you know, that's how technology starts. And not really, because for example, when smartphones came out,
it was quick. Like we adapted.
Right. When the iPhone first came out in 2007, within 2 years, everybody had a smartphone. Yeah. Right? You know, and other technologies as well, whether it was the internet, you know, like within a span of 5 years,
email.
Like everybody got the email, you know, email, whatever it may be. Flat screen TVs, you
Apple
know,
Pay, Google Pay.
Right. Do you remember when flat screen TVs came out? I remember the first one that I saw that like you could buy at Best Buy was the Philips one.
Yeah.
And within a few years, everybody was switching to flat. But cryptocurrency has already been here for a few years, and nobody still really knows what it is.
That's the thing, and nobody can explain it,
right? Except
to tell you that it's the future.
No,
it's like, well, yeah, tomorrow's the future too.
But dude, you're gonna make big moves.
My God. Ganas de comer mierda.
So anyway, but let's end, pero let me tell you on a happy note.
I think our listeners kind of like it when we get worked up, though.
On cryptocurrency?
In general, I think they enjoy when we get worked up on things. But yeah. So, well, we did mention, we're going to have another trivia night. That was great. Thank you so much for coming out. There was a bunch of you there who were actual listeners. So thank you. It's always nice meeting y'all. We've got the shirts on sale. They make a great gift. I'm sorry. I'm doing my Thalia on Wendy Williams moment right now.
They make great stocking stuffers.
The Lechon Life. We have in gray and in black. And we also have the Sereno Definition. We've got, Croqueta Palooza's coming up, guys, on December 4th. We're going to be there. You should be too. We've got one more giveaway for entries to the fair. Will be happening this upcoming Thursday. I don't know the date, so sure, just check the Instagram. We've already done 2 of the 3 weeks of giveaways. We're going to be at the fair the Wednesday before Thanksgiving.
We will be there.
The fair. The Wednesday before Thanksgiving, eating our way through the fair.
Yes.
As we do.
That should be a hashtag. That should be something. Eating our way through the fair.
Done. It's done. Listeners, hashtag eating our way through the fair. Use it. Tag us and the fair. And we'll make it a thing. Look at us.
Hashtag eating our way through the fair.
Through the fair. Look at us. We're creating trends.
Yeah.
We're like TikTokers not on TikTok.
Anyway, we hope everybody listened, laughed, and learned. Remember to grab your croqueta, your pastelito, and your cafecito. And thank you for joining us, everybody. That was episode 182.
Yes, it was.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Cuídense. Bye. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lamleplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.